From blood-scary facts to conspiracy theories and an attraction to serial killers, nothing would prepare you for the series of clips you are about to watch. Did you know that there are certain people that are of the opinion that no one has ever been to outer space? What is their argument, and is there any iota of doubt to facts that humans have been to space before? Check out this clip for more.
No one has actually been to outer space. There's a theory that we haven't ever been to outer space because of a transparent barrier that surrounds our entire world, and that past this barrier isn't open space or a vacuum, but water. Now, it all might sound crazy, but back in 1962, the US government launched a couple of nukes into the sky to allegedly test out the atmosphere's reaction to them, or that's what they want us to believe. But some say they were actually trying to see if they could crack that invisible barrier. Ironically enough, this program was called Operation Fishbowl. This theory is further speculated, as many have said that if you look at the stars with your own eyes, or zoom in on them with a camera, it seems to be twinkling or shining through a liquid-like substance. As rocket enthusiasts have observed, that rockets we have launched do seem to hit an invisible ceiling that causes a ripple-like effect that you would see in water, leading to a pretty strange theory
that we do not see them today does not mean that there was never a time when giants used to walk this very same earth. In recent times, a footprint of billions of years ago has been found, and you would not believe just how large this footprint is.
Giants are real. Back in Africa, archaeologists have recently uncovered a 4-foot-long footprint, which is said to be between 400 million and 300 billion years old. Putting this into perspective, this 4-foot-long footprint would have belonged to something at least 27 feet tall. Furthermore, a 38-centimeter finger fossil was found in Egypt, and scientists have said that it would belong to something at least 16 feet tall. There have also been carvings done by prehistoric cavemen that actually depict giants in them. Putting all these with evidence of enlarged bones that have been uncovered by archaeologists, is it possible that...
If you buy into what the Bible says, you might want to understand that the last days are truly here. The river caging the 4 fallen angels is almost dried up, just as the book of Revelation says. What river? Check this clip out.
The fallen angels will rise again. There is this biblical prophecy in the book of Revelation that talks about the great Euphrates River in the Middle East. It's said that in the last days before God destroys the earth, that this great river will dry up. Well, the river is almost dry. But that's not all. The Bible says that God chained up 4 fallen angels and imprisoned them underneath that river. And according to the Bible's timeline, when that river dries up, they will be released from under the river to slaughter 1/3 of mankind. So, it's only a matter of time before.
After watching this video, there is a high chance that you would never stand for inviting strangers to a kid's birthday party ever again, not even for entertainment.
This is why I would never hire a stranger for a kid's birthday party. And if the photo's not bad enough, the mystery behind it is so much worse. And a reminder before I dive in that if you like all things spooky and true crime, check out my podcast. There's a link to it in my profile. So in the 1940s, the McLaren family in Houston, Texas was having a birthday party for their daughter, Rose. They hired a clown for the party, but an hour before the party started, they get a call from the company saying that the clown they hired was no longer available. They were going to send someone else in his place. And the parents were like, okay, fine, whatever. But then this man shows up to the party. And the kids are all terrified of him. No one really wants to take photos. The man stayed at the party for about 20 minutes and then just disappeared. But get this. After he left, the clown that they hired showed up to the party. And he apologized for being late. And the mother is like, what are you doing here? You canceled on us. And the clown's like, no, I didn't. And it was at that moment that one of the parents noticed that this little boy pictured here was missing. The little boy was never found, and the identity of this man remains a mystery even today.
What do you know about Riverdale Road? The story of Riverdale Road sounds more confusing because it's not just one story, but 8 creepy stories.
Haunted Places in Every U.S. State, Part 6. Colorado. The Many Legends of Riverdale Road. Riverdale Road is the site of not one, but 8 creepy stories. The creepiest story, though, is that of the phantom jogger. One day, there was a driver who hit a jogger, freaked out, and left him for dead. Now, it's said that if you park at the site of the crash, you'll hear disembodied footsteps getting closer and closer to your car. People have reported handprints on their windows and banging noises as if someone was kicking the outside. If anyone is interested in hearing the other legends of Riverdale Road, let me know in the comments.
Honestly, the United States is just riddled with many different haunted stories. On today's episode, let's look into the state of California. What's the haunted story? The Charman.
Haunted Places in Every U.S. State, Part 5, California. The Charman. Now, I know hearing the word Charman may evoke positive and cute images of little red Pokemon, but this Charman's origin story is gruesome. A father and son were both caught in a house fire and horribly burnt in 1948. After the fire, the son became so mentally unstable that he murdered his father. When the police found the son, he was so unrecognizably burnt they didn't realize he was actually alive, so he ran away before they were able to arrest him for the murder. The story goes that, ever since then, the Charman can be spotted wandering the woods surrounding Ojai, occasionally approaching tents of innocent campers, or pretending to be a hitchhiker, and then attempting to attack or kill them.
This is the story of the wristband you receive in hospitals when you are admitted. Well, specifically the red wristband. Did you know that in some hospitals, the red wristband is placed only on persons who are dead? What would you do if you met a person wearing one on the hospital elevator?
This is a true horrifying story about the red wristband. Before I jump to the story, I want to wish everybody Ramadan Kareem. This story was published by an anonymous author in May 17th of 2008. When we get admitted in a hospital, we are given this white wristband. It usually has our name on it, our birth date, our section, and sometimes the doctor's name. But there are other different colored wristbands. Blue, green, yellow, and sometimes pink. Different colors symbolize different things. For example, the red wristband. Patients with allergies wear them. However, in some hospitals, they're only placed on dead people. Back in 2008, a forensic pathologist on a late-night shift just finished examining a deceased woman. On his way down to the basement, he got in the elevator and there was one woman inside with him. As the elevator descended, he was chatting with this woman inside. She seemed friendly. The elevator stops midway and the gates open. An old woman was approaching the elevator, and in a very rude manner, the doctor slams the close button so that the woman approaching does not come inside. The woman that was with the doctor in the elevator was shocked, and she asked why he did not let the other woman in. The doctor said, "That was the woman I just operated on. She died during the procedure. Did you not see the red wristband that she was wearing?" The woman smiled and raised her arm. Something like this.
True crime doesn't get more serious than this. This woman would never have known that that would be her last day on Earth. Even the police couldn't figure out what happened at the scene.
I would preface this story that a photo like this is my actual worst nightmare. It's Julie Watts and her husband Jonathan, and on December 2nd, 2017, Julie was home alone when her phone pinged, detecting motion in the downstairs camera. This was the frame that was shown on her phone. Before we dive in, if you're a fan of true crime, make sure to go click the link in my bio to listen to my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast, on Spotify or Apple. She saw this photo and she immediately jumps into action. She locks her bedroom door, she calls 911, she starts texting her husband Jonathan, who's all the way in Minneapolis on business. After a few minutes, she gets another alert on her phone that there was motion detected in the downstairs bedroom. This was the photo sent to her phone. I know it's hard to see, but if you flip this picture upside down, It is somebody who is back crawling out of a closet. Julie did not survive this attack, as when police arrived, they came upon a gruesome display where Julie's hands had been taken. Police had no idea who could have done this. This was the final text exchange that was surfaced from her phone.
What if World War III was to start today? What country do you think is most likely to begin it? North Korea?
North Korea might start World War III. Okay, so North Korea threatened World War III after they were pushed to get rid of all their nuclear weapons. North Korea has warned America that any attempt to get North Korea to get rid of their nuclear weapons is a declaration of war. They have also been testing a lot of missiles recently, leading many people to believe that North Korea is getting ready to launch nukes. So what do you think? Do you think North Korea is going to start World War III? Or is it just another one of their attempts trying to look all big and tough?
Here are the facts you might regret finding out.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 21. This photo shows 8-month-old Zhao Bao, who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
The bad boy syndrome. Do you know that women have this unhealthy love for serial killers? I bet you didn't.
Why are women so attracted to serial killers? Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez, Charles Manson. These men have a lot in common. High cheekbones, strong jawlines, and symmetrical faces, but most importantly, they have murdered a combined 58 people that we know of. The more surprising reality is that when these men were convicted of these crimes, they received countless fan mail from female admirers. They would actually send them nude photographs, love letters, and would completely thirst over a guy that would eat them for dinner. Now, some claim women desire these men because they're the ultimate bad boy, and the woman can nurture him back to good. They think, oh, he would never kill me, and then they turn into the next victim. Others, such as Joe Rogan and his podcast, believe that this comes from an evolutionary benefit to become close to killers. Because back in the day, murder was pretty common. So of course a girl would want to be with a guy who could prevent that. But ultimately, the question remains.
There are certain things you wish you haven't seen in this video, aren't there? Tell us about them in the comments.